From the News Channel 5 Network, this is OpenLine.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. I am Ben Hall. Very good show tonight. We're talking about the Metro Fire Department, the Nashville Fire Department. Of course, our city is growing. So what does that mean for the fire department? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the opportunities? We want to give you a chance to call in with any questions you may have. We're very happy to have with us Nashville's Fire Chief, Ricky White. Chief White, thank you for being with us.
Very welcome.
And also Brian Haas is here, Public Information Officer, new Public Information Officer, a couple of months on the job. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I want to start with that. So the big challenges, as the fire chief, when you go to bed at night, what are some of the concerns you have?
I think for the not so distant future, one of the biggest challenges we're going to face is the increase in population that's going to naturally occur in this city, the development growth. All of these are going to require our fire suppression services, our fire prevention services, as well as our EMS services. I read a report from one of the centers out of the University of Tennessee at Knoxville, and I think they quoted that by the year 2025 we would have a 40% increase in Nashville of the over 65 age population. Now that equates drastically to better EMS services, putting more units on the street, you know, having qualified people to staff those units so we can do triage, treatment, and transport.
And when people think, and when I say we're talking to the fire chief, they think, okay, these are the people that go fight fires, but you're also over all the paramedics, the ambulances.
Right. We're considered an all-hazards department. I mean, we do have our Fire Prevention Bureau, EMS operations, fire suppression operations. We have special operations. It's a whole panoply of services that we try to provide to the citizens of this city. And
how is the budget? I mean, what have you seen as far as the money going in, and have you had to make cuts in the department? I mean, we have lots of departments that come on the show, and obviously this time a lot of cuts are being made. I mean, what have you seen in the last couple of years?
Well, as you well know, 2008, 2009 were lean years for cities all over this country, and cuts were made budget-wise, but with public safety, I'm not aware of anyone that lost their job or got laid off. Now, that's the big factor right there, because we're so labor-intensive as far as staffing is concerned. So I think all in all, the budget cuts we've suffered, maybe we didn't get as much equipment as we wanted. Maybe we didn't get the latest and greatest that was out there, but we've got our cadre, our core of EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, and fire inspectors, and so I'm really grateful over that. I can't get sad or down over our budget.
And as a city that's growing, we're seeing these high rises going up everywhere. What sorts of challenges do those types of buildings present? And as a fire department, can we handle that? Can we handle a fire on the top floor of one of our tallest buildings?
Well, we can probably handle one on the top floor. What I'm worried about is one on the third or fourth floor. They have a tendency to have that chimney effect, and the whole building gets involved.
Wow.
You know, that's a hard nut to crack, man. You know, the party line for me was, sure, you don't have to worry, we can handle anything. But when you deal with a true high-rise fire, and I'm not talking about food on the stove or a room and contents fire, it gets so labor-intensive. In all likelihood, we would tie up, I would say, two-thirds to three-quarters of our staffing to actually fight something like that. And of course, we try to train on it and write policy to it and everything. The best thing we've got going for us with these high rises, especially the new development, is our codes department is very efficient in their building codes, and that's a crossover there to our fire prevention bureau, our fire marshal, and our fire prevention code. So we work real well together, and that's the best strategy you can have, is to prevent that fire. Make sure you've got safe systems in place that's going to contain it before it gets too big. And I'm talking about sprinkler systems and things like that.
Right. And when you talk about, staffing, what are the levels? I mean, where does our fire department rank as far as size? How do we compare?
It depends on whose report you read. Usually we're 24 to 26 as far as the largest departments are concerned. So we're a large department comparatively speaking. Now, if you compare us to some place like New York, that we've got, I think today, 1,146 people on the payroll, including myself. You look at New York City, and gosh, they may have 12,500, but you're talking about a much denser population mass and a lot more people.
Sure, and I think people might be surprised there were 26.
Right.
It's because we cover the whole county.
Yeah, the whole county, and Nashville's not a small city. I think our population is generally 659,000 or whatever like that. But a lot of people don't realize that Nashville during the business week will swell to 1.2 million people during the business day.
Right, when everybody's downtown.
People coming. We're pulling in from the metropolitan statistical district right there.
And Brian, so you're new on the job. Welcome.
Thank you.
And what are some of the things that you think people don't get? You were a reporter. You've covered the fire department. You've covered all of Metro. What are some things now that you're on the inside that you think, wow, I don't think people fully understand this or that about the fire department?
I think one of the things that has surprised me, and I'm still learning, 2 months in, there's still so much to learn. One of the things that has surprised me is how much non-firefighting, non-EMS work we do, such as fire prevention, fire education. We're doing show and tells with schools every week. We're showing off engines. We're talking about fire safety. We've got multiple initiatives. Just last month, we were giving away 9-volt batteries for smoke alarms. Smoke alarms is one of our big things. That's one of the best things you can do to protect your home and your family from fires. We are, in fact, to that end, we're hoping to start. We're doing a pilot initiative right now where we're trying to identify needy homes that maybe can't afford smoke alarms, and pairing up with volunteer groups to install those alarms for them free of charge. We're doing PSAs to make sure that folks are doing things like safely frying their turkeys, which was one we recently did, just to show sort of the perils of some of these things. And this show, in fact, is really good timing because the winter months are traditionally our busiest months. You've got home heating issues, you've got space heaters, you've got candles in use, you've got holiday trees, you've got decorations, you've got holiday cooking like frying turkeys or frying hams. So, we're kind of, this is kind of one of our busy months, and that extends as well to the education aspect of it and the outreach.
Good. We'll be talking about some of that. We have a few calls. Let's go to David here. Hello, David.
Yes.
Hi. What's on your mind?
Yes. I wanted to talk about when they build new neighborhoods, and does the fire hydrants put an extra stress on other neighborhoods surrounding the, say, new neighborhood?
So when they build a neighborhood, the fire hydrants, does that put new stress on, what are you saying there?
Existing water supply.
On existing water supply, okay. All right, what about that, Chief?
Generally speaking, that's a great engineering project, and of course we have a very good water and sewer department here in Nashville, and they've got some of the best engineers that I've ever been around, and all of that is engineered into it. They won't put allow a suburb or a tract housing be put into place without making sure there's going to be adequate water supplies. Now, sometimes you get into what is adequate or not, but generally speaking, we haven't had that many problems with most of the county. Now, there's areas such as out in Bellevue and up in Joelton where it's just a constant problem.
And what is the problem? Is it the water pressure, I guess, is the problem, or what's the problem?
Well, sometimes it's a pressure problem. More often than not, it's due to the sparse density of population there, that your hydrants are spaced out further.
Mm-hmm. And as we grow, I guess that is an issue.
Right.
That has to be talked about. Okay, we have several calls. Jay, Philip, others on the phone. Hold on. If you want to call, there's the number 737 plus 737-7587. We will take a break. Be back right after this.